After Tom presents this really good paper example and spends some time going through it and explaining all of his highlights and commentary and pointing to the different characteristics that make up a review of the literature and making sure that all of the students are on board with him, he gives a really positive disclaimer. And he says that good writing does not happen in one draft. And this is something that I have told my students so many times, that every first draft that you ever write is going to be shitty. Not just you, everybody. Nobody writes a perfect first draft. There is no such thing as a masterpiece that comes from a first draft. He says, aim for this, but know that revisions will make you better. And that he says something that I have always thought but never really put words to, and I'm definitely going to take this. He says that revision is not a punishment, it's a way to make you more powerful. He really stresses that he is giving students power by helping them write. And I thought that was really cool. He tells the students that I'm helping you build these writing skills so you can be more powerful, so you can have a more powerful voice when you write. I'm not doing this so you can be better. I don't want to make you better. I want to make you more powerful. I want to give you power within the academy. And I just love that, because the class that he's in is an EOP class. And I don't think that these students in EOP especially have ever considered themselves to be powerful, especially within some sort of institution. And I don't know, that quote just really resonated with me. He goes on to remind students of the different places to find really good sources, and then he kind of gives a 1, 2, 3 for how to approach the difficult to read sources. And he gives another disclaimer saying that the academic sources that you guys are going to be reading for your review of the literature are most likely going to be really long, really wordy, and hard to read. And then he says, don't think that these sources are hard to read because you're not supposed to read them or you're not smart enough to read them. These sources are hard to read because they're written by specialists within that specific area for other specialists within that specific area. So don't feel like you're too stupid to read them. They're hard to read for anybody. And then he says, slow down when you're reading them, especially if they're hard. Take it sentence by sentence and then track your comprehension. Because once you hit a sentence that you don't understand, it's like, okay, here's where I stopped understanding. So just take it by sentence by sentence. Sentence 1, do. Okay, yes, understand what that means. Sentence 2, do. Yes, understand what that means. Sentence 3, okay, I'm still with you. Sentence 4, nope, don't know what that means. And then you didn't just read 4 sentences that you didn't understand. You understood the first 3. It's sentence 4 where you had a problem. So tracking your comprehension helps you to not feel overwhelmed. Oh my God, I don't understand anything. It's like, well, wait a minute. Yes, you do understand something. You understand a lot of it. If you're taking this paper and you understand 3 of the 4 sentences, you understand more than you don't understand of this paper. But students tend to see writing as a cohesive thing, and it's not. You understand 3 of the 4 sentences, so you understand most of it. Then he goes on and says, this is normal behavior, this tracking your comprehension, this slowing down, this annotating within the margins. This is normal behavior. This isn't what I'm telling you to do because you are struggling as a reader. This is what I'm telling you to do because this is how people do it. Not just people who have problems. Everybody does it like this. And then he says, be patient. Stick with something you're interested in. Slow down and be patient. And then he gave students 20 minutes to work, get in their like small groups and work with their mentors. And at first, I didn't like the way he transitioned into that, because he didn't say what they should be talking about, what they should be doing. He just said, go to your mentor, get with your mentor. He didn't designate this 20 minutes as a specific time to do anything. But it actually worked out really good, because the mentors just took charge. They identified themselves within this space as more capable peers for helping students think through this thing. And so the mentors just took over. They got the students in groups, and the different small groups did different things. I saw one small group, Macy's group actually. She went around and she had her group sit in the circle, and each student, one by one, talked through this inquiry process that they are in the middle of. And she let them ask her questions freely. And there was this really cool move that Macy did during her individual group session. Well, it wasn't really individual. It was her more talking one-on-one, but the whole group is a part of it. And there was this one girl who started to talk, and then she goes, I don't know. And Macy goes, no, finish your thought. What were you saying? Finish. And Macy made the girl finish talking through this idea that she had, and it actually developed into a really cool idea. She's thinking about the way Tom's shoes, not the Professor Tom, but the brand Tom's shoes, how they say, oh, buy Tom's shoes and we'll donate a pair of shoes to Africa or whatever. But the shoes that Tom's is donating to Africa are not the same shoes that we're buying here in the US. They're made with the cheapest material, the crappiest quality. They're not like good shoes. So, I mean, while Tom's is still doing a service to people in Africa, they're kind of, they're sneaky about it. And Macy made this girl talk through this idea that she's having for turning this into an inquiry project. And the girl ended up finding her inquiry project and having some really cool questions about it. And then the group chimed in also and gave her some ideas for other things to look at. I really, really enjoyed watching that small group talk through things, because Macy just gave so much authority to her students to think through things. And it seems that the students aren't quite there with understanding that they have this kind of authority in Macy's group yet, but she's definitely giving it to them. I think that the reason why they just haven't fully taken charge of it yet is because it's a new thing. It really is. They haven't understood it. I didn't even really take authority over my own learning until I was at least a junior in my undergrad. And yeah, a junior probably of my undergrad. And I came from a rather privileged background. So I can't imagine what these students coming into a university from an underprivileged background view authority within the classroom, and whether or not they can take it and how comfortable they are with that. One student asked another mentor, he said that he didn't understand the paper. And then the mentor went to clarify more about the paper, and then the students started chiming in. And it was also a really cool moment because the mentor started to talk about the paper, but then students started chiming in, and then other students were also adding in follow-up questions that they thought of once this first student started asking questions. And it was really interesting. Students were helping each other make meaning out of this assignment by either explaining further the assignment, or they were helping make meaning by asking more questions about the assignment as they thought of them, following up or piggybacking off the student before them's questions. It was really cool. I didn't, in my notes, I put not much direction for what students are supposed to do during this time for the 20 minutes that Tom gave them. To meet with their mentors. But by the end of the class, I ended up changing my mind. I ended up liking the open-ended part. I put open-ended. Students are working together to help a student hash out the subject. Some students are texting. They're running their topics by their mentors. Mentors are helping students elaborate on topics. They're bringing their problems to the mentor about how to formulate a question. And I put also in my notes that several students have decided to not be engaged. They're sitting secluded from the circle. Some students were playing on their phones. Some students were on Facebook. And I wasn't sure what I thought about the students who were not engaged. The students who were not engaged, not sitting with their circle or texting or not really paying attention, they were really like the outliers of the group. That wasn't the majority. Most of the students were in their groups, thinking through things, hashing out things, creating meaning, and wrestling with things. I said things a lot just now. And I really thought that was cool. But whose job is it? Or is it anyone's job to tell the outlier students who are not paying attention to pay attention, put your phones away? This isn't the time. I have personally addressed that in my classroom by just kind of politely telling the student, you don't have to be here. You can go home. If you'd rather be on Facebook or texting or not a part of this, you can go home. I'm not gonna call your mom or anything. No hard feelings. And I think that there's something about that when the student realizes that it's not me that's forcing them to be there, they're there on their own volition, there's kind of an attitude change, I think. I hope. But nobody addressed any of the students. Nobody said, hey, now's not the time, or